A true story of a night alone. I was 13 when my parents first let me stay home overnight by myself. For most kids, that might sound terrifying. But for me, it was freedom. I lived in a quiet suburban neighborhood where nothing ever really happened. Our house sat on a tree-lined street, the kind where neighbors waved from across manicured lawns and everyone knew the sound of each other's dogs. It was safe, or at least that's what we thought. It was late August, and a thunderstorm had rolled in around dusk, the kind of storm that made the sky bruise purple and gray before breaking open with a roar. I loved storms. My grandfather and I used to sit on the porch and count the seconds between the lightning and thunder. He passed away the year before, and storms had taken on a comforting feeling since then, like he was still watching them with me. My parents had a dinner party 2 towns over and wouldn't be back until morning. They left me with one rule: don't leave the house and don't let anyone in. That was fine by me. I planned to game all night, blast music without being told to turn it down, and snack guilt-free in the living room. After watching the storm for a while under the awning out back, I brought my Xbox downstairs to the den. That room was special. It had my dad's huge flat-screen TV, the surround sound Bose system, and dim, cozy lighting. It felt like a private cinema. The den was only half a flight down from the main level, and its sliding glass door led right into our backyard. That night I was playing Call of Duty, Black Ops Online with my best friend Cody. We were yelling through our headsets, hyped on virtual kills and adolescent energy. Rain battered the roof. Thunder cracked, almost synchronized with the flashes outside. At around 9:15 p.m., the doorbell rang. I froze, mid-match. The buzz cut sharply through the surround sound. My first thought was, my parents forgot something, but they had a key. Why ring the bell? I muted my mic and told Cody, "Dude, someone's at the door." He replied, "Yo, check who it is, but don't open it, man. That's weird." I left the game running and crept up the stairs toward the front door. I didn't see anyone through the peephole. It was dark, and the porch light wasn't on. I hesitated, then called out, "Who is it?" A male voice replied, deep, calm. "Hey, my car broke down. I need to use your phone, just for a sec." That should have been the moment I walked away. But I was a kid, curious, unsure, polite even when afraid. I didn't answer again. I just stepped back from the door and returned to the den, heart beating faster. I told Cody what the guy said. "Bro, don't open that door," he said. "He's lying." We agreed I'd just ignore it. A few minutes passed. No more ringing, no knocking, just the storm. I let myself relax again. The game pulled me back into its world. The lightning outside flashed brighter, and the thunder rumbled longer. It was almost hypnotic. Then, I heard something behind me. A subtle sliding noise. I turned my head. The back door was halfway open. A tall figure was stepping inside. Slowly, silently. My brain stalled for a second. I wasn't sure if I was imagining it. But when he closed the door behind him, without a word, I knew it was real. The controller slipped from my hands and hit the floor with a dull clack. I bolted for the small office next to the den and slammed the door shut. My headset cord ripped out of the controller, leaving Cody yelling, "Hello? You there, dude?" I locked the office door, just in time. A second later, the handle jiggled violently. Then came a voice. "Come on, kid, I just need the phone." He started knocking, then pounding. "I said, I need the phone. Open the expletive door." My heart was jackhammering. I was sweating. I stared around the room, trying to remember. Was there any other exit? Yes. The office led to the garage, my only chance. The man outside was screaming now, kicking the door. The sound reverberated through my chest. I reached for the garage button and prayed it wouldn't be loud. It was. The motor groaned and clanked as the door slowly opened. It was like a death sentence ringing out into the night. I dropped to the floor and crawled under the garage door as soon as it lifted enough. Rain soaked me instantly, but I sprinted barefoot down the street, lightning flashing above like nature itself was in panic mode. I ran to the only neighbor I trusted, Julian, who lived 5 doors down. He used to let me play with his golden retriever, Copper, when I was younger. I banged on his door, gasping for air, yelling his name. Copper barked before the door opened, and I all but collapsed into Julian's arms. I tried to explain, words stumbling out like broken glass. There's a man in my house. He broke in. I don't know him. Julian's expression changed instantly. His wife came in from the kitchen as he picked up the phone and called the police. He told them everything clearly, calmly. Then he called my parents. My mom screamed through the phone. My dad demanded updates every second. Police cars arrived in under 10 minutes. I stood with Julian on the porch as they entered through the garage. 5 minutes later, 2 officers came out, with the man in handcuffs. They made sure he didn't see me. I couldn't stop shaking. When they asked if I knew him, I said no. Of course not. But he claimed to know me. Told the officers this was his house, that I was his son. He slurred his words. His eyes were wild. He smelled like alcohol and sweat and something else, something rotten. His name was John McCarty. The police ran his info. No priors for violence, but a long history of mental health issues, substance abuse, and homelessness. He was charged with criminal trespassing. I asked the officer, how did he get in? He said, garage was left unlocked. Maybe not fully shut. Once inside, he waited, then walked into the den. He waited. That word still sends chills through me. He didn't knock first because he was desperate. He knocked after he'd already found a way in. And when I revealed myself, by speaking through the front door, that's when his plan changed. My parents came home shortly after. My mom cried for an hour. My dad triple-locked every entrance and installed a full security system the next day. Cameras, motion sensors, reinforced locks. But none of it erased the memory. Even now, as an adult, thunderstorms make me feel uneasy. Not because of the storm itself, but because of what I saw during one. The man who stood in my home, uninvited, silent, watching me. The man who almost reached me before I ran. Some people ask why I didn't try to talk to him more, or if he might have just been a lost, confused soul. Maybe he was. But I'll never forget the way he moved. Slow, quiet, like he'd done this before. And maybe next time, he wouldn't be looking for a phone. He'd be looking for something else. A thunderstorm horror story. They say lightning never strikes the same place twice, but they never say what else can happen during a thunderstorm. It was the first storm of September, and the last night I ever spent alone in my childhood home. My parents were away on a 4-day work trip to Atlanta. I was 18 and had stayed alone at the house a few times before. The arrangement worked fine. Our small rural town in Western Virginia wasn't exactly a hotbed for crime. We were surrounded by woods and cornfields, with just a handful of houses spaced out over a few miles. The kind of place where people don't lock their doors unless it's hunting season. But that night, something felt off from the start. The wind started picking up around 7 p.m., tossing tree branches and leaves across the yard. By 8, thunder rolled in like the sky itself was growling. I made myself dinner, just frozen pizza, and watched the storm from the living room, curled up on the couch with the lights dimmed and my phone in hand. I've always liked storms. The way lightning backlights the clouds, the rhythmic tapping of rain on the windows. But there's a fine line between cozy and unsettling. And when the power went out around 9:30, that line vanished. I wasn't too concerned at first. I had candles, a flashlight, and my phone was still at 78%. I texted my mom, letting her know the power was down. No response, not surprising. They were probably in a meeting or already asleep. So I lit 2 candles and settled in with a downloaded podcast. Some creepy story narrated in a calm voice, just eerie enough to keep my mind engaged without truly scaring me. That's when I heard it. Tap. Tap. I froze, pausing the podcast. It wasn't coming from inside. It was the window. The living room window, just behind the couch. I turned slowly, half expecting to see nothing. But there it was again. Tap, tap, tap. Knuckles. 3 of them, spaced out, light but deliberate. I got up, heart starting to race. The window looked out onto the front porch, which had a small overhang that shielded it from the rain. It was completely dark outside, the only light coming from an occasional flicker of lightning behind the trees. I moved the curtain slowly and looked out. Nothing, just the porch, empty and dripping with rain. I stood there a moment, my breath fogging up the glass. Then, with a sudden flash of lightning, the entire front yard lit up for a split second, and I saw him. A man, standing at the far edge of the porch, just outside the overhang, still as a statue, drenched. I gasped and dropped the curtain. My knees almost gave out. My first thought was, maybe it was a neighbor, someone looking for help. Maybe someone's car broke down. But the way he was just standing there, I backed away from the window. My mind scrambled. Call the cops. But we barely had reception in the house, and with the storm, it was useless. I tried anyway, pulling out my phone and watching the little spinning wheel try and fail to load a signal. No service. I ducked down, crouching behind the couch. The tapping didn't come again. But then, something else did. A voice, low, male, muffled by the rain. Open the door. I couldn't move. My legs wouldn't respond. Please, open the door. He didn't sound panicked, just calm. Too calm. There was something calculated in that voice, something off, like someone reading a line rather than pleading. I grabbed the flashlight, turned it on, and crept toward the hallway leading to the kitchen. The back door had a deadbolt, but I wanted to double-check it. Locked. Good. I made my way room to room, checking every window, every entrance. All locked. Except one, the basement window. It was cracked open, barely, maybe 2 inches. I always forgot that one. I lunged for it and pulled it shut, latching it tight. I was shaking now. Every hair on my arm stood up. My head kept jerking toward every little creak or wind gust. Back in the living room, I kept all the lights off and peeked out again. The man was gone. That didn't make me feel better. It made me feel worse. I should have called someone. I should have left. But I didn't want to open the door, not even to run to my car. Then I remembered. Our attic crawl space had a small window that looked out toward the backyard. From there, I could maybe see if anyone was still lingering outside. I climbed the attic steps slowly, flashlight in one hand, the other gripping the railing like it would save me from gravity. The attic was hot, dusty, and filled with old boxes and bags of clothes. I crawled over to the window, careful not to knock anything over. I aimed the flashlight out toward the backyard and froze. He was back. Not on the porch this time. He was standing at the back door, just staring, motionless. His face obscured by the darkness, but his shape was unmistakable. Then, he moved, not forward, sideways. Slowly, deliberately, around the corner, toward the side of the house. I realized in horror, he was circling. I didn't know what to do. There were no weapons in the house. My dad didn't believe in them. I had a baseball bat in the garage, but I wasn't about to sprint out there in the middle of a storm with some lunatic stalking my house. Then I heard it. A click. From downstairs. The sound of a door handle. My blood turned to ice. I rushed back down, skipping the last few steps and landing hard on the floor. I turned the flashlight off and crouched in the hallway. I could hear it. The side door, the one by the laundry room, rattling, the knob twisting. He was trying to get in. Then came the whisper, just outside the door. "I know you're in there." The whisper turned into a chuckle. Then silence. 10 seconds. 20. Then, the unmistakable shatter of glass. I screamed and bolted for the master bedroom, slamming the door shut behind me and pushing the dresser in front of it. My hands were trembling. My ears rang with the sound of thunder crashing overhead. I felt like the walls themselves were closing in. I grabbed my phone again. Still no service. So I did the only thing left. I hid. There was a small crawl space under the bed, barely big enough for me to squeeze into. I slithered in, biting my lip to stop from making a sound. Dust filled my nostrils. My heart was thudding so hard, I swore it echoed. And then, footsteps. Wet, squelching. Inside the house. I heard the bedroom door handle move. Then, bang, the door shuddered against the dresser. Again and again. I closed my eyes. Then silence. He gave up. Or maybe he hadn't. I waited for what felt like hours, but must have been 15 minutes. Then I heard it. The sound of sirens in the distance. Faint, but growing louder. The man must have heard them too, because I caught the sound of feet running across the hardwood floor. Then a slam. The back door, maybe. I stayed under the bed until the police arrived, even when they knocked and called out for me. I had to see their flashlights through the windows before I crawled out. They didn't catch him. Not that night. They found the shattered glass in the laundry room, muddy footprints leading to the kitchen, then out the back again. They said I was lucky, that whoever he was, he probably didn't expect me to still be awake. I slept at a friend's house for the rest of the week. I don't live there anymore. But sometimes, when storms roll in and the lights flicker, I still find myself checking every window, every door, just in case he comes back. Because when I think about that man, the thing I remember most vividly wasn't his face. It was the way he whispered, like he knew me.